Hello on for a new video. So this is the, I would say, more like mid-budget version of the Essence Drain build guide. So I took the one that MBX made and went off of that one. If you want to see like the low budget to, like mid-budget also, look at his channel. He has the whole like league start with it and all that stuff. So you can see the life version to the getting to the ES for the first time through him. For me, I just went straight to ES, or low life I mean. And pretty much this is the current setup I did to farm up the mageblood. Pretty much all the cards. Does the build need improvements? Oh yeah, it needs a lot of improvements. Did I need to make the improvements though? No. I killed Maven on this build. I can face tank all of Cyrus. I killed all the invitation except for the fear and the synthesis one, just because when I did that one, my gems were actually flipped. I had my blight in a 4-link, and it wasn't even these clubs. It was a lot worse clubs, and my ES was on a 6-link, so I didn't have the damage for the invitations. But when we killed Maven, it was on this 4-link. It was pretty easy. The bosses are easy to do on this build. The build is extremely tanky, and with the upgrades I want to make to it, it can get even more tanky than what it is currently. So pretty much the weapon is pretty much you want the AoE enchant. Ideally Imbue wand is better. Pretty much this was a plus, it's a +2 wand, all this pretty much is. +1 all spell, +1 chaos. I bought this thing for 40 chaos. Actually the build I played before this, and luckily I just had it sitting there. But like ideally I want to get is a spell damage, chaos. I'll also talk about upgrades. I'm doing this too for anyone watching, which I'll do at the end. But pretty much like, chaos.multi, pretty much your flame dash, contagion with your increased AoE. I went for anonymous just for the increased AoE. Maven's helmet is pretty nice because Maven's helmet just gives you so much another defensive layer, especially how cheap they are this league, like 5 chaos. It's not bad at all. It needs an enchant though. The Essence Drain was just a random lab enchant that I got while running lab. It's not the actual one I want to get at all. But Maven's helmet's nice because +2 socketed gems, all res. When your damage from hitting monsters on you is always unlucky because you always run at least one magic ring. And then depending on which ring which slot you have the magic ring in, depends if it's in the right one, you have hexproof, which is always nice to do. If it's in the left one, you take no extra damage from crits. So it's another defensive layer if you run 2. You definitely don't need to run 2. You can run 1. To be honest, and just keep switching the second ring back and forth depending on if you're running the map with curses or not. Yeah, should do it so fast. There's D&D. There. Pretty much, and then, chest piece of shabs. It's the best. If you want to get the shabs, you can go low life. The Present Chilulu just makes going low life a lot easier because it gives you about 1,000, I think is what it was. Okay, well, it takes off the helmet, but it's about 1,000. 1,000 more ES. That's it, yeah. So like when you get like the shabs and Chilulu, just use them together. They're a lot cheaper now, but you can definitely run a 5-link shabs for the time being. Just upgrade to a 6-link when you get the money, which is what I did. In the helmet, we're running Discipline, Malevolence, Determination, and Purity of Ice. You don't need the Purity of Ice until you decide if you want to go Meddling. If you go with Meddling, then get a Purity of Ice in here. Without Meddling, Purity of Ice is not needed at all. Enlighten is good, which is a better one. Any other aura if you want to put in here instead. The Purity of Ice slot is an open slot. Shield, Agus Aura is probably one of the better options. They are really expensive though this league. They're going down though. Like these things used to be 8 to 10x. And Trace Sight's really bad today, but the shield's very good. When you get the shield, it pretty much gives you the 5 max cold res. If you're running like this, it's another 5 max cold res. You run Meddling, you pretty much have almost 90% all res. So I'm at 88 right now. And then fix the last 2 would have been like the old gloves would have done that. But pretty much it's like Anonymous Arrogance, pretty much to make you go low life. Defiance Banner, and Primitive Elements. Primitive Elements is just a nice quality of life for the immune to all elemental elements. I would like to drop this eventually though. to get a better shielding slot. So do Defiance Banner and stuff. So the 4-link and the 6-link, if you don't have a pair of gloves like these, you can definitely run your Essence Drain in the 6-link and run your Blight setup in the 4-link, which is what I did to start until I got these gloves for 2x. So like, if you're running the Essence Drain in the 6-link, you're pretty much going to be doing Essence Drain, Control Destruction, Swift Affliction, Void Manipulation, Empower, and Efficiency, I think was the last one. I forgot the last one was. Just use MBX's channel. He has the actual old 6-link in there. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I think it's Efficiency if I had to guess. But I could be wrong. But pretty much Hands of Templar, like these were pretty decent. Cast speed, max ES, +4 to Essence Drain. So it's pretty nice. A better version of these gloves would be, instead of attack speed, get +1 all, which would give you these +1, but those are probably going to be extremely hard to find. I got real lucky with this pair. That's one reason I switched the gems around, is because of that. So the 6-link Blight, where pretty much I still need to upgrade the Blight. It's not even a 21. There's no quality on it. It's pretty much Val Blight for your bossing. Control Destruction, Efficiency, Anonymous Infused Channeling, Empower. You don't need level 4. You don't need level 4 at all. I just got this last night from a gem chamber in the corruption chamber. So level 3 works. And then a Void Manipulation for more damage. Rings, they are pretty much can be changed to whatever. If you need stats, if you need resistance, get what you need on these. For right now, these are just increased chaos damage, both of them. With both of them having T1 ES, and then I crafted Frenzy on both of them just for more attack, more cast speed, pretty much everything. Because then it gives you more cast speed, so you always have the 2 out, so more damage, so it's always permanently there. Boots, these are pretty much fillers. To be honest, your boots and your belt, and you had the old gloves, it was a lot easier too. But pretty much if you don't have the High Templar, these 3 slots are pretty much your biggest fillers on stats, resistance, all that stuff. Because your stats are going to hurt a lot. Same with your resistance. It's going to hurt, so fix it any way you can. Like Crystal Belt, this is pretty much a massive dex stacking, or dex belt with resistance in ES. Boots, movement speed, strength, and resistance. And then gloves was the same thing in the past one. I think those were like dex, all of them too. But boots, pretty much, is your curse setup with our Bane setup. So whenever on bosses or anything, we cast Bane. If you want to cast Impacts to kill them faster, it's pretty much the triple curse everything. Because our curse setup we're using is Despair, Temp Chains, and Punishment. And I think I talked about this already, but the 4-link Essence Drain is Essence Drain. Yeah, the Control Destruction, Swift Affliction, Void Manipulation. Eventually, Awakened Gems will be really good for the build. But also, Flask setup is probably one of the most important things with this build. Because you're blocking so much, because you want to get close to max block chance, I would highly recommend put on here, use charges when full, and then also get the gain charges when you're hit by an enemy. That pretty much will make it so whenever you're running maps, your Flask will always be active 100% of the time. You never have to hit them once, anything, those keep going nonstop. So pretty much we're using, Quicksilver, movement speed, Granite for more armor, Silver for onslaught and cast speed, Sulfur for more damage, and this is pretty much your, so these last 2 are pretty much crafts you get from the Syndicate by unveiling her Flasks. So you can just buy the Flask unveiled and just unveil them yourself. That's what I did. It took about 4 tries. But we have one that's regen 3% life per second, so you're always regenning life. And then the other one is a 25% reduced mana, so your skills cost a lot less than what they normally do. Because normally where is it at? It's 62 mana for an Essence Drain with your Flask up. Okay, so the same thing, but that's wrong Flask. Hold on. It's 45, so it's easier to sustain it. And you're always hitting enemies, so your mana goes back up. Your mana might go down, but you regenerate everything so quick, not to worry about it. This one. So, Labs, it's pretty much the usual 4 for all these builds. You know, Valve Bastion, your Void Beacon, your pretty much a whole bunch of your damage and your Chaos Res comes from. Malediction's your last one, just for your curse. This is what gives you all your curses. Because you have one initial. This is curse number 2. And this is curse number 3. You don't need to get Whispers of Doom anyway until like you have the 3 curse setup going. So the low life version, like pretty much like points like these over here are pretty much just stat fillers. You know, I needed more strength and dex, so I took this point. Definitely drop these if you can. But pretty much if you look at the tree, it's like low life, spreading rot, corrupted blood immunity. Down here, increase aura with mana reservation. You know, more ES. These 2 points you don't need to put on here. These were just, I had 2 extra points from levels, so I just threw them down here because I didn't want to read through the tree yet. Because I don't have the second cluster jewel in. Up here, this point also going to be taken out for more spell damage. But you just want the AoE over here. Stats if you need them. This way, your additional curse. You have more spell damage. You have block chance on top. You have your life reservation or mana, whichever one you want. More mana more reservation in general. 1% chaos damage for 4% chaos res. This is actually brings you a lot of damage in the build. Very recommend taking these points here no matter what. But a lot of damage. Light radius, because this build is really dark. You can move that over. But if you can drop the 10 strength here, I would recommend it. I took this point here because I needed the 10 strength at the time of making this. So that's why I haven't respected those 2 points yet. You know, second cluster jewel setup would be right here. Going this way. Intuitive leap, so you can take your mana regen, your block, and your more spell damage for mana. And also mana in general. Because you do want to get a mana off this build. The more mana you have, the easier it is to cast. Your increased effect of wither with more wither effects because you're doing your because you have your blight to deal wither for you. This way, cluster jewel setup will go at the end. Zealot Oath for your life regen goes to ES. So that's why we have the flask with the 3% life regen. So pretty much it's ES regen instead. Down here to get 1% more block attack block on your shield, and also more block also. You know, like I said earlier, stat fixers. Discipline, mana reservation. You know, more ES, reduced mana cost of skills. Going this way, the other same thing, mana reservation, life reservation, whichever one you need. Reduce effect of skills. Some more all armor, all res, ES, good note overall. Thread of Hope. If you don't have Thread of Hope, you can definitely not use the second cluster jewel set or the first cluster jewel setup like I did, and just spec down over here, and just pick up go this way and just pick up your glancing blow and pick up these nodes here if you need the block, and then eventually respec all this off once you get the Thread of Hope. Because Thread of Hope is pretty much to give you glancing blow, divine shields since you have so much armor, and light of divinity for another strength node, more spell damage. You know, you can definitely drop this one. I just took it for now for pretty much for the strength. Cluster Jewel. So this is pretty much where I went off on MBXs. I added my mediums to it. But pretty much you want Wicked Pale, Touch of Cruelty, and Unholy Grace to get the, you know, increased chaos damage. Chaos skills can also hinder. Medium clusters are pretty much the same. You want Wicked Pale with Vile Renovation, whatever it's called, ×2. Eventually you want 4 of these. I just had, they're really cheap, like 30 chaos. I picked up 2 at the time because I didn't have enough skill points yet. But pretty much just gives you, you know, the same thing here. So it's another 3, 6, it's 90% more chaos damage. And also you get 24% chaos or damage over time. You get more ES. You also get regen ES per second if you killed enemy recently. So it's a nice defensive cluster of jewel in general. You know, meddling, if you want to use it or not. If ideally, so like the other medium cluster jewel, this is pretty much just a filler because I don't have the helm enchant. But if you have the helm enchant, drop this. So pretty much it's for Malevolence, has mana reservation efficiency. Is the only reason I'm running this pretty much. So this is not this one. If you don't have the helmet, you can get determination enchant. You can get malevolence enchant, purity of elements enchant. You know, get whichever enchant you want to get, which is probably the cheapest. And then whatever enchant you get, just move that gem into the helmet. That's all you gotta do. Because it doesn't work with low life. You don't want the low life one getting affected. You want it to be the one in helmet. So like that's why I want to get this point off. A better spot for this, like a Watcher's Eye is missing. With Malevolence, well, those like 8x. Eventually get like a Clarity, Malevolence, Watcher's Eye. Somehow fit Clarity in the build. Another big massive upgrade to the build, which I already checked in POE, but it does add like over 100k more damage, is getting regular jewels. You know, ES jewel with was it chaos.multi, you know, damage over time, stuff like those jewels add a massive amount of damage to your build. I just haven't fixed the tree yet to do that. In the second cluster jewel, or second cluster setup, you want to get going too. Which I have it here somewhere. Yeah, like this is what I'm going to go with for dark addition, and Wicked Pale for more damage, and then also gives you more chaos damage for every mana, which you have a lot. So it's another damage cluster. Then get the same 2 mediums in there to pretty much go that route. But pretty much that's what I want to do with that. You know, like weapon upgrade, you know, +2, a better spell damage, and then pretty much multi-mod it from there for suffixes. That worked pretty well. You know, cast speed, chaos.multi, helm, enchant. Get like 21, get a 21 valid discipline. So just for another defensive layer, it would help. You know, like a 21 malevolence. Those 2 are done. You know, eventually I want to get a shield I was working on. I was pretty much trying to use the Recombinator to get it. I failed 2 of them already. But I'm trying to pretty much get a titanium shield with all the 3 T1 suffixes on it. You know, I'll try to get Recover ES on block. Trying to get the mana reservation. And then trying to also get the avoid elements as well. Avoid elements on there too, so I can drop period of elements. Just to, so we can add like clarity, you can add zealotry, you can add other options instead. It's not easy to get it, but it's just gonna take time. Eventually, I want to like this amulet. I want to drop. It's not the best. It's not an endgame amulet at all. It's just a budget amulet. A better amulet would be +2, you know, intelligence gems, chaos gems, you know, whatever, something like that helps your build out. Something that affects, you know, like the essence drain and the blight demos. You know, get ES on there. You can get stats on there. You know, there's a lot of options with the amulet. It's just getting it's gonna be tricky to do, and it's gonna be expensive. Ideally, probably keep one of the rings and drop the second one. Because if we use, like, eventually upgrade the belt to mageblood, try to get, you know, curse immune through the flask setup, probably can drop one of the rings and make that another filler to fix, you know, fix stats, resistance, whatever. Boots, eventually like Tailwind, you know, Onslaught even, maybe Elusive, you know, another Void Elements on the boots too. Like, there's a lot of options with the boots that can be played with. You know, fix stats, movement speed, ES, you know, there's a lot of options. The boots are just a placeholder for now, and then fix them as we go. You know, the gloves talked about, you know, get a +1 on there too. Just gonna be stupid expensive. Mageblood would be an upgrade for the belt. Flasks, you know, like this one, you know, Bottle of Faith, and just move the regen life to somewhere else. It's gonna be hard to say which one the best one is to remove it to, but something I played with. So let's do a map showcase real fast. We'll just leave everything like this. We can take some Nico, I guess. We haven't done Nico in a while. Don't know if my Nico's full. Oh, you got near too.
You can never die. Why don't you test it?
But yeah, it's pretty easy playstyle. The build's extremely tanky. Not a good map for it. But yeah, the playstyle is very easy. You know, it's just the reason why I said the flash up is nice because you don't have to worry about pressing only these 3 buttons or 4 buttons. That's it. You know, you go 1, you go 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, and that's all you're doing. But that's my whole playstyle. Let's hit these. But yeah, the playstyle is very smooth. The build did a lot better than I thought it was going to be honest. You know, I even expected to really clear all these. I want to try to kill the Uber bosses with this build if it can. I probably could like super late budget game. Depends on the investment though, if I gotta see if it's worth it or not. Or we just try a different build out to do it. But yeah, your build, if you play this, you'll have no problem. You know, you can face tank everything pretty much. A lot of this stuff. The Wrath of the Cosmos will kill you though, no matter what, how strong your build is. I think everyone's already realized that this league. But it's pretty nice. Like Legion's really good with this build. Breach is really good. Simulacrums I've done with this build too. You're gonna struggle with code select if you're playing this budget that I went with. You definitely need to invest if you want to kill wave 21 through 28 code select. Because how his shield, his ES shield doesn't stop. Kill the boss real quick. But like I said, the mob damage is good. The boss damage is not that good. It just takes time to ramp up and get going. But it gets there. But for a build that's not really played at all anymore, it's definitely doing really well. So like 10 similar items. This is definitely not the map you want to see those in. But yeah, it's pretty nice. You just hit pretty much all build is contagion, essence drain, and everything spreads across and kills everything at once. And if a mob doesn't die right away, just cast a Bane on it, and that will kill everything no matter what. Crystal Fight is maxed out. It does not matter which one we hit. But you can see the Eating Contagion is not as... It's a fun build. It does work though, but you do need to invest into it. Give a heads up in advance if you're playing this on like no currency. The life version will work, but you definitely want to switch to low life as soon as possible. Even get a 5-link shaft, and I would say switch to low life. If you can afford Present Chilulu, get that too. And then just those 2 items alone will carry your whole entire build. And then you slowly upgrade the damage from there. I don't see anything else. I think we're done. So enemies here. You know, use your Rob Blight to kill things faster. We're gonna call it there, I think. But yeah, it has no problem in maps. Its build does very well. It still needs to work on bossing damage. That's where you're gonna struggle with this build always. But you know, the build's designed just to clear maps quickly. It's not designed to boss at all. If you want to play a bosser build, I probably would not recommend this build at all. If you just want to map for fun, I recommend this build. And if you're gonna map, if you don't care about bossing, you can even put your essence drain in your 6-link and just be done with it. But I think I went over everything. Pantheons, actually, I didn't finish the Pantheons. Like this league, I recommend Aberith no matter what for the burning ground immunity, and Luaris we went with just for the avoid projectiles. It was the avoid chain also. I forgot to get that one. If you want to get the cannot be frozen, reduce effect to chill, stun, you have this option too, but you don't need it if you're playing with this setup. This is probably something we'll switch to if we drop the necklace maybe, but who knows. You have a lot of options here, but I recommend probably this, probably the most important one this league. Especially if you're running XR, because you will die nonstop. Bandits, we killed all. I think that's everything, right? Trying to think of anything else I missed. like gem upgrades, you know, awaken gems. That's pretty much the biggest upgrade for the gem wise. I think that's everything on top of my head. Yeah, that's everything. But that's like the mid-budget video version of this build. There is gonna be a high-budget version I'm hoping to get to eventually. It just I don't know what the tree's gonna look like. It's gonna talk a lot of crafting, but I do want to do a magic find project, which is what I plan on doing next. It's just getting the maps. I'm looking for a quad tab of those maps, and that's gonna take a while to get to. You know, a quad tab of the maps, then a quad. For each map, you need a scarab to go with it. So I gotta see how much investment it's gonna be and how long it's gonna take to set up. But that's my plan to get my next build going soon. Try like end of the week, maybe I'll try to get that going. But hope everyone liked the video. If you like, see, subscribe below, come follow me on Twitch, and hope everyone has a good league. I'll see everyone on the next one.